How to keep physical information secure. Before I get started, I'll do a quick introduction. My name is David Crichton-Offord. I am the Senior Information Security Consultant here at the university. I used to work for the government, previously in the Department for International Development, and prior to that, Department for Work and Pensions, in the role of Information Assurance Architect as well as within Security Architecture. I am a massive bad movie buff, so some of my best films are just awful by anyone else's standards. This is a picture a friend drew of me dressed in the robe that the master wears from the cult movie Manos, the Hands of Fate. If you need to get in touch with me, you can do so at david.crichtonofford@ed.ac.uk. If you need to contact the information security team about anything, or you wish to raise a concern or just ask for good advice, you can do so at informationsecurity@ed.ac.uk. I'll be putting up those contact details again at the end of the talk, so don't worry if you're not already got them. So, the internet is scary, but this talk isn't entirely about the internet. This is where information security moves into the real world, as it were. And most people think of information security being entirely about computers. It is not. So today we are going to look at things like theft, shoulder surfing, eavesdropping, fake networks, and tailgating. What do they mean? What can we do about them? And what kind of a threat they pose to our day-to-day lives and also to the university as a whole. So, physical information security, what is it? It is the middle ground between physical security and information security. So, it aims to protect tangible assets, you, and it protects against physical threats, so theft, loss, destruction of property. It covers a lot of that stuff that people tend to think of as being very much sort of down to things like the estates team and what not to worry about. So, first threat within physical security is shoulder surfing. Shoulder surfing is a social engineering technique where a person just looks over your shoulder at what you're doing and tries to obtain personal information, details, and more. The classic shoulder surfing example is you're sat working at a coffee shop or somewhere, you're typing your password in, and someone watches you do it and then knows how to get onto your device. So when you next get up to go for a wee or something like that, then they will go in and they'll have access from there. So that is one example. Another example is where if you are working on research data or data that involves handling of people's personal information, if someone sees something in there, they can gain information that they shouldn't necessarily have access to. So if you do research during the course of your studies, you need to be careful of this kind of thing. So what do? Well, we hide our screens when we're entering personal details or working on things we don't want others to see. You can have a special screen that you can put on the top of your device that limits the viewing window. There are these weird films you can get for laptop screens and for monitors that make it really hard for people to see into them from the side. And of course, the obvious one and the one we should all be doing is locking our screens when we're not looking at them. So rather than just leaving something open and running, if you are in Windows, you simply hit Windows L, you lock the screen, and therefore people don't see things that they shouldn't when you're otherwise engaged. Surroundings, so talking on the phone. Be aware of what or who is around you when you're talking on the phone. If you're discussing sensitive or personal information, you need to think about your options. So for a lot of the stuff you do, may not be a big deal if people overhear you. If, for example, you are sorting out your bills or something like that, the information that you're giving away could be more sensitive, even more so when you're trying to sort out something which involves you telling someone your bank details or card details over the phone. So it may not be the best idea to speak in crowded public spaces. You might be better off waiting till it's emptier, or you are alone, or just waiting until you're at home to discuss sensitive information over the phone and prevent eavesdropping. So surroundings, check before leaving. Part of knowing your surroundings is checking for any documents or devices that you've left in places before leaving. This includes coffee shops, most definitely the library. The amount of stuff that gets left in there every year by students is amazing. Please don't be that person. Lecture halls, again, an absolute classic. On public transport, basically don't leave stuff lying. And also be aware that the university, under normal circumstances, has a lot of tours, it has a lot of people moving about. So if something's left unattended, chances are it could be picked up, and not necessarily by someone who's got your best interests in heart. So, next one. Disposal of documents. This is one that a lot of people seem to struggle with. So when you get in all kinds of documentation, so you've just started in your new housing, you've got your first sort of gas or electricity bill or your first rent bill or something like that, it's got a lot of detail about you in it. And it's really important that any pieces of paper like that that you need to dispose of are disposed of properly. So a lot of people will just chuck it in the bin and leave it at that, not thinking that, someone might actually try and have a look through them. For the most part, people will not be trying to look through your bins day to day. If, however, they know that you've just moved into halls of residence and it's around about the time that everyone gets all their rent paperwork and whatnot, you will find that there's a possibility that people will dumpster dive through bins for sensitive personal information in thrown away papers, especially since we now separate into recycling. So it means you're not diving through hordes of stinking food waste in order to get to all this juicy information. So be aware, if you can shred something, do so. Makes it much harder for people to put it back together and try and basically steal your identity, steal your money, make your life miserable. So what to do? Yeah, what I just said. Use a paper shredder to shred any paper that has sensitive or personal data on it. Even if it's not necessarily sensitive or personal, if there's the possibility that another person could gain something from reading through that data at your expense, shred it. If no shred is available, you rip it into very small pieces. The absolute winner is burning it, not the most environmentally friendly way to do it, but when something absolutely positively has to go and you need it to be basically impossible to put it back together, it's always a bit of a winner. It's really hard to reconstitute documents from ash. So, fake or malicious Wi-Fi networks. So, attackers will create Wi-Fi network names that appear similar to names of legitimate Wi-Fi networks. Why is this on a talk on physical security? This is because it relates to moving about, especially around campus or around the city, or if you travel further away. So fake networks are normally designed to gain access to your mobile device to carry out phishing attacks or steal valuable information, or just eavesdrop on whatever it is you're doing as you're going through a network that's not under your control. So what can we do? Well, this map, if somewhat small and somewhat blank, gives a really good example of what can happen. This is a map of the Royal Mile. We were doing a bit of work looking at different networks that we could find. We actually found one on the Royal Mile that looks an awful lot like the university's own EduRoam network called EduRoom. Now, we then had to investigate it on the basis that it could be a malicious lookalike network. Thankfully, we found it was just a bunch of students who had a somewhat fun sense of humor and wanted sort of their EduRoam equivalent. So it wasn't a big deal, and it was a secured network and everything was fine. But under other circumstances, it could have been malicious. There we go. What do we do? So always double check the name of the network you're connecting to make sure it is indeed the one you want and the one you know. When you're out and about, if possible, use the university's VPN if you're going to be doing any kind of university business. If you use the university's VPN, it basically counts as you being on the university network. So if you want to do stuff that you would normally do in your own time or do things that aren't entirely legal, do not do them over the VPN, please. The number of notifications we get of people pirating movies and the like, or at least attempting to over the university network each year, is thoroughly depressing. So please do not be one of those statistics. Also, turn off auto connect to open networks specifically. If it's a secured private network like your home one, less of a problem. But for open networks, while convenient to have, it can be a danger. Theft. Not all information theft happens online. If someone gets their hands on your phone, your tablet, or a USB stick or something like that, it can cause you serious problems, from minor inconvenience, oh no, I've just lost a whole load of music files I was going to put on something, to serious financial loss or even full-on identity theft. If, for example, you like to carry around copies of your work on USB stick, if that goes missing or is stolen, that can be a real problem. If you get your mobile phone stolen and someone manages to get into everything else on the back of it because you haven't put a proper lock onto it or you haven't actually encrypted it, that gives them access to basically everything that you would access from your mobile phone, and this can be a real danger. So theft is no small matter and something to always be aware of. So how do we avoid getting our stuff stolen? Well, try to keep expensive things like a phone, tablet, or laptop out of sight. Lock your doors, your rooms, and your windows and put valuables out of sight. Don't leave your property unattended. Ensure that you mark your laptop, tablets, phones, bikes, valuables with some sort of unique identifier, preferably where it can't normally be seen. And apply a passcode to, it says here, all mobile devices. I would say all devices for logging in. And that gives you a huge amount of security. And I'm sure this is echoed by our estates team when they do their security talks as well. So, details for information security. By all means, check out our website. It's an absolute wealth of useful information in terms of how to secure yourself digitally, as well as our Twitter account, which is UOE InfoSec. That gets updated whenever there are major incidents or something happens on campus that we need everybody to know about in a hurry. Also, whenever we have different talks on various other topics within information security, such as fraud, scams, social engineering, or how to lock down different types of device, or what actually encryption is and how we can use it better in our lives, or what tools there are for sharing data securely within the university. That's all done through those sessions, and they are available all year round. We run them, run at least one every week through term time, and you can get the lowdown on when those are from there. If you need to contact information security for anything, if you think that you've received, malicious email, that normally goes through IS Helpline. But if you think there's a risk of you being hacked or something strange is going on, or you want to actually push for a bit more help within your area, you can contact us through informationsecurity@ed.ac.uk.